Welcome back to the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre here at Loughborough University, where we're just a few moments away from the first of the men's semi-finals. Dan Cox, who's been in such fantastic form, is part of that particular battle. Let's just clarify what has happened so far. We've been live since 10 o'clock this morning, and 2 of the 3 matches that we have witnessed have proved to be absolute thrillers. In the first one, which was the first ladies' semi-final, Freya Christie fought tooth and nail, but eventually was pipped by Emily Appleton, who's been in such fantastic form throughout the week. So Emily goes through to the final tomorrow. Jack Findle-Hawkins, who's also caught the eye, certainly made an impression against Mark Whitehouse in the second match. And just a few moments ago, Olivia Nichols squeezed through in a match that ebbed and flowed. Match points for both players. Kylie Bilchev gave her all, but it's Nichols who is still on course for a 5th place finish tomorrow. And so too our next match, which is the first of the men's semis. And just behind that curtain over my right shoulder, they're waiting, and they know this is a hugely significant encounter. So first, let's see onto court Dan Cox, who at the age of 30 is the oldest man in the event. I hope he doesn't mind us calling him such an old man at such a young age. He's from Lancashire. He's not currently ranked. He was a fantastic junior, reached the Tarbes final, came out of retirement last year, made an impression in Pro Series 2020, finishing 4th in Classic Week, narrowly losing to James Ward. His coach is Justin Revel. He's a Manchester United fanatic. He's recently taken up running. He's a dog lover. His dog Maddie is watching this match, and he can identify any car by the sound of its engine, which is a wonderful skill to have, of course. And his opponent today is Josh Paris, who is 24 years of age. He's from London. Had a dramatic win over Jack Findle-Hawkins to make the semi-finals, 10-8 in a tiebreak. Also had another dramatic victory against Mason Recchi earlier in the week. Damien Jackson is his coach. He's bilingual, fluent in French. He won the David Lloyd Club Championships with referee Sultan Ganji, who assures us that there won't be any preferential treatment for him. One-handed backhand, big serve, a 12 handicap golfer, despite only playing for 2 years. An Arsenal fan, and he's got a new puppy, Maya, who is also watching this match. Those are the 2 players. We can hear a little more from one of them now. Here's Dan Cox.
My name's Daniel Cox, and I'm 30 years old. Playing Wimbledon main draw, I think that's probably one of the highlights of my career, and playing all the Grand Slams around the world. I would probably say Kei Nishikori. I played him when I think I must have been about 17, 18. Probably one of the quickest guys on tour. Just couldn't get a ball past him even on grass. Probably Ivo Karlovic, just because the ball rarely comes back when he throws the ball up and hits his serve. So probably somebody like that. Well, I guess probably some sort of fast food takeaway. I mean, I don't really like eating too many fast food things. I just remember one time in Taiwan when I was younger, we had McDonald's for lunch and dinner every day, and I ended up winning the tournament. I guess the least favourite thing is the free time, especially when you're abroad on your own. It's very hard to fill the time, and it can be very lonely. I think just the competitive side of it, really. I just love competing.
Yeah, he loves competing, and he has competed extremely well this week, which is why I think he comes into this match as a favourite, though they've not met before. Delighted to have Barry Cam, the former British Davis Cup player, alongside me. Great story about Dan, isn't it? Coming back to the sport after so many years out, making an impression last year, and doing the same again this time.
Absolutely, Marcus. It's great to be here, and I'm sure for Dan and Josh, it's a wonderful opportunity, and having had as many matches as they've had this week, generally your level improves. So with both players looking to play their best tennis today, Dan does have the experience, though, so that would probably be tilt the balance towards him.
Interested to see actually his ideal doubles partner, Ivo Karlovic, who obviously has got the fantastic serve. Whether his returns would equate to him still being a great doubles partner is perhaps open to question.
Yeah, Dan might have to win every returning point. Well, you know you're not going to lose serve with Karlovic, right?
That is very true.
And Dan would feel 6'10" if you're partnering Karlovic at the net. You might just hit the one volley a match with Karlovic.
Might be all you need to do. I mentioned in the introduction, very, very talented junior.
Yeah.
And it's perhaps a frustration in a way for British tennis when you see a player like Dan who was so good so young and then for whatever reason was forced to leave the sport, and now he's coming back to show us what he can do.
Well, I think it's a wonderful opportunity this series has with the amount of matches and that you're able to play. And I remember I interviewed Riccardo Piatti, a couple of years ago, who's coaching Yannick Sinner, and the world is his oyster, potential world #1 in the future. And Riccardo said last year he wanted Sinner to play 60 matches. And it wasn't he wanted him to achieve a certain ranking, wasn't necessarily to win a tournament, it was just the amount of matches. And I think that often goes underlooked, Marcus, the importance of playing a lot of matches, that it just helps you improve your level.
And we've got Josh Parris just alongside us at the moment, warming up that very big serve of his. How much of a threat is he going to be out there today?
Well, naturally you would expect Dan to be the stronger of the two from the back, and that's when you have got your big serve. You need to hope that you serve well, try and keep the point short, and make statements early. That's ultimately always the goal of big service.
Thank you, Barry. I'll let you get yourself up to the commentary
I need to
box.
rush.
Yes, you do. It's a long way for a man of your dubious fitness. Already in position, Pete Hodges.
Yes, thank you, Marcus. This should be an absolutely terrific encounter, and a match between contrasting stars. Of course, Joshua Parris, who won that roller coaster ride against Jack Findle Hawkins, 10-8 in that match tiebreak. It was a real intense battle between two players who like to come forward. We know that Josh Parris likes to get on the front foot. He's got a big, booming serve, but we also know that Dan Cox is a brilliant returner, a great mover. So really, the task here is, can Parris hit through the defence of Dan Cox? But it's just great to see Dan Cox back on a competitive tennis court once again, when it didn't look all that likely a few years ago. Looked like he had pretty much walked away from the sport with various injury issues. But of course now with the UK Pro Series, and then this year the UK Pro League, it's a chance for Dan Cox to shine on British TV once again. Of course, as he was saying in the VT there, he was talking about the fact that he's played at Wimbledon in the main draw a couple of times, 2011 and 2014. But he's had a lot of success on the ITF circuit, 14 futures titles coming across all surfaces. And he had 7 finals back in 2015, including he's beaten the likes of Evans, Dan Evans that is, and David Goffin. That was both in 2010. So he's been in the mix for a long, long time, has Dan Cox. As for Josh Parris, of course, 6 years younger than Cox, 24 years of age. And he did lose that match against Matusovic on the match tiebreak, but other than that, he was able to get the better of Gray, beat Recchi 12-10 in the match tiebreak, and Waitman in straight sets before that dramatic win over Findle Hawkins. I'm glad to say, Barry Cowan, good running. That was quick, Barry. You've been.
Were you quite impressed with that?
I was very impressed with the foot speed. Do you feel you could get out here on the centre court next week? The second week?
Next year. Got plenty of time. But these will hope. Both these two will hope that it's not plenty of time for them to play their best tennis. And more matches you had, you want to be able to start strongly. I think the start will be vital for this semi-final.
And of course, Barry, you were a big server. So are you backing the big server with regards to Parris today?
I'm not actually. I'm going for the man nearest our shot, Cox.
And why is that?
And just the experience. He's been in good form. Confident coming in, as will Parris be.
Yeah, out nice and early is Dan Cox. Of course, he had success in the Pro Series last year. Parris played a lot of the Pro Series as well. Of course, it's a unique situation playing round-robin tennis. These players in other years used to playing on the ITF circuit, and they lose a match, you're out. Of course, Paris still very much in and still has the chance to top the league and win this tournament. Serving first in this first semi-final of the men's tournament. Not a bad way to start from Paris.
A lovely volley
15 love.
off his shoelaces.
We saw in his previous matches, Joshua Paris, he's someone who serves and volleys on occasion. Sometimes throws it in, sometimes doesn't. Do you like that?
It's the modern way. And actually, it's nice to see someone serve and volley. A lot of matches now. See many players come forward.
Just missed.
But I'm a big believer that everything is cyclical and it will come back to be a big force in the game. I'm not advocating that we'll be seeing players serve and volley first and second serve religiously, but it is vital.
I'm sure Paris, most people talk about Paris saying how refreshing it is he was serving and volleying, yet he was the non-serve and volleyer in that match against Jack Findle-Hawkins. He's someone who does serve and volley behind the second serve.
Everything.
Everything, yeah. It's a sweet strike.
He packed a punch there,
14,
Cox.
15.
He's surprised. Paris. Probably expecting that Cox would go for the one into the backhand corner.
That's lovely soft hand skills from Cox. Just drawing Paris up the court.
Yeah, when you watch a point like this, Pete, that's why it's important that he does mix up that serve and volley, because Cox was able to stand in the baseline, take charge of the point with the aggressive return.
Comes through the opening game, does Josh Pash. Holds for one love.
First game.
And of course, he won the David Lloyd Club Championships with the tournament referee. Sadly, with the way we have round-robin formats throughout the UK Pro League, he can't expect any favourable draws.
Would that ever happen? What are you hinting at?
But yeah, nice nerve settler with regards to the start for Paris there. But it's an incredible story, isn't it, with Dan Cox? This is why this event's so vital. In terms of, we might have lost someone like Dan Cox not stepping on the competitive tennis court again, and it's been great fun watching him this week.
Well, I've been a big advocate for years that you want to keep as many players in the sport, and not only does it help Dan, but it also helps the younger players. The aspiring juniors who think, no, I want to be a top 100 player. Well, is a really good pro who's had a good career. You've got to come up against someone like Dan Cox.
Dan Cox to serve.
And not just that, Barry, and we've talked a lot about this before, the nation that's probably leading the way in men's tennis right now, Italy. And one of the reasons we've discussed that is because of the amount of tournaments they have in Italy in terms of the ITF events. Just allowing players to be able to play on a regular basis without travelling abroad. Just wide.
30 love.
He's been willing already to attack the net. Just one other factor on it is, you know, when you're someone like Dan Cox, at his age, he knows why he's playing tennis. And that doesn't always apply to juniors.
He's playing it because of a spin bike, right?
Clearly so, yeah.
Smart.
40 love.
Did you feel it took you a while to know when you or why you played the sport?
For me, no. I always knew why I wanted to play it, but it's not always the case with players. I mean, Dan Evans has been very open. He didn't really know why he was playing tennis. He just happened to be very good at it and very talented, but and obviously over his, what is now a superb career, he's become more clued in to what he actually wants from every single day that he is a tennis player.
$40-15.
Of course, one of these situations with this tournament, players have to sort themselves out, find the new balls, find the balls. No ball boys or ball girls due to the COVID situation.
Net. First serve. Net. Second serve.
He's just overcooked that. It was the right
Okay.
play, just didn't quite execute on it.
Cox.
And it's a game apiece first set.
Game all.
Yeah, I think both men will be pleased to negotiate their way through their opening service game. He does drop that racket head quite a long way down on that forehand. Does Paris, bilingual? Have to be half French with a name like Paris.
Exactly. I'm always envious of anyone who's bilingual. I'm your typical Englishman, absolutely atrocious at any other language.
But doesn't Cornwall have its
It
own
does,
language?
yeah.
So you are bilingual.
Yeah, Curno is what Cornwall is in Cornish, yeah. And Oggy, 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 oi, 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 you might think is a chant, by the way.
Yeah. It is,
means,
isn't it?
It means pasty, 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 yes, yes, yes in Cornish. Has that found the line? I think it is just long.
Love 15.
What's going to be his route to victory today for Paris?
Well, he has to take the attack to Cox. And not necessarily sure he wants to be involved in those types of exchanges. That sort of felt that was the wrong shot, the drop shot, when it was the opportunity there to hit that forehand, come forward.
Love 30.
First point sets the tone. More often than not, Doesn't matter what level. Shouldn't necessarily be the case because you've got to win 4 points, but get ahead as a returner. Just creates pressure.
That's well played. Nice response from Paris.
15-30.
That's really good tennis. I like the way he took that ball on the rise, got his weight through it.
He's quite an intense character on the court, Josh Paris. You can almost see that he's thinking intensely in between the points. Can get a little frustrated at times and erupt in frustration. Done well there as well. 3 really positive points from Love 30.
40-30.
Just getting used to players getting their own towel now. Here to stay.
I'm guessing you're not for the ball boys then, if there were. No?
Definitely, it should be a player's responsibility.
Game.
It's terrific serving.
Paris.
Serves his way out of trouble there, Paris. He was in a bit of trouble at Love 30,
2 games.
but we remain on serve so far in this first set. Paris leading by 2-1. On serve so far here. There was a half opening for Cox at Love 30, but Paris serving his way out of trouble to ensure that we have remained on serve.
And he will hope that he can take those last 4 points with him to this game for Paris.
It's the Easter egg hunt again.
Yeah.
As we were saying, searching for the balls.
Sort of brings back memories after a session, and the coach used to say, you know, they're very precious, especially if you've had new balls in that morning. And he's filled up the basket of hopper of 70 balls he spent all morning opening those ball cans, and then he's counting them, and you're hunting for the last 2. And then you go to the coach, yeah, but coach, there was 4 women on our court next to us for an hour. I think they've put one of those in their bags.
I know the experience of being the coach there as well.
And I've got a good story about that as well coming up. I was doing some coaching last year in the middle of the summer, and the kids I was coaching just happened to have his mate there that day. He said, "Can you join us?" I said, "Sure." And same thing had happened to me that day. I cracked open a whole new basket of balls, and we were doing volleys, and I hit one ball to the boy that I've done quite a few lessons with, and he hits the volley back, hit to another one, and he just literally tees it into the road as if he's playing baseball. I was looking,
That's a new ball.
it's a new ball.
You got to get that. Well, he was expecting a kicker out wide there. Smart serving from Cox.
That's a really good change-up.
15 all.
And it's just letting Paris know early on in the match that he's got that type of serve. So going back to the story, there's steam coming out of my ears for a couple of
15,
seconds.
30.
Took a couple of deep breaths and I thought, you know what, customer's always right.
Yeah. Yeah. Not always, but mostly.
Mostly.
Yeah, mostly. Was he invited back to?
I got invited back.
Okay. It's a lovely cushioned volley from Cox.
30
Looks
all.
like he's got time on the ball today, Cox.
Net for serve.
He said to me that earlier on, I asked him about the comeback, and I said, were you able to keep your level while you were coaching? He said, well, I was coaching good players, so I was hitting quite a lot of balls. But match play tennis is totally different.
That's a great serve as well. And I like what he said with regards to having gone away and started coaching, saying that now he gets less nervous when he is competing. And he's able to think through his matches a little better because he's obviously everything now is just a bonus to him.
Now, when you've done some coaching and when players don't listen to you, I think it puts a totally different perspective on it.
Use.
I was saying here actually with Nichols in the previous round, had the same thing that Loughborough have a setup here where they do the level 3 coaching course and they give it at a discount to all the players who play. And I think that's great as well because it does just get them thinking a little different as the coach. Different perspective can never hurt. Good aggression from Paris. Didn't hold back on that forehand. And it's a break point.
Paris.
Well, early on in the rally, Paris sort of declined the opportunity to be aggressive. Then Cox also declined it. Paris thought, well, if you're not going to be aggressive, I will. That was a stunning forehand.
Eyes lit up there, though. This time unable to execute.
Good hit. Right shot. What always happens in this sport is how you move forward after that shot. Do you have those thoughts of positive, or do you start questioning yourself?
And it's on that note, actually, what I thought with coaching. When you coach, you start to assess the percentages, I think, a little better. maybe there's your answer, Barry. And another really positive point.
Advantage Paris.
The pressure's starting to build. Cox has just backed off in the last few points.
Second break point of the game.
Right, please.
Didn't back off on that forehand though, did he? He was able to react and saves the break point.
Deuce.
It's just so fascinating. Big points. What's the plan of attack? And last 2 points, he was aggressive. What does he do there? Second serve. It sort of sent the mindset of hoping not to miss. Cox wasn't going to make the mistake.
Aggressive on the next break point. But that's the difference, isn't it, Barry? I mean, that's why we call it such a psychological sport. And particularly if you go through the rankings, when you look at the shots that Paris can hit, he's got a big serve, okay forehand. You know, he can play all the shots. It's just, can he do them in the big moments? Does he back himself in those big moments too? Third break point. Gets the break. And it's first blood to Josh Paris as he opens up a 3-1 lead first set.
Yeah, calmly played that last point.
Paris leads by 3 games to 1.
Clear mindset. And he did well emotionally, as he did well emotionally the previous game to recover from love 30. And now you're finding the 2 newest balls that you can.
He does like to play the drop shot, and it's not a bad shot to have in your armoury when you've got the power that Paris possesses. Just missed that one. How much do you feel it is about mindset, Barry, then, in terms of throughout the rankings? How much is it about technique? How much is it about the mind?
Could you clarify that in terms of the rankings? Because there is a,
well, I would say futures to challenges, from challenges to ATP.
Well, even at ATP, there's different levels.
Mm.
The big boys are going to be mentally stronger generally than guys ranked 60 because they got more tools in the locker. But when you look at many future players, many challenger players, a lot of it does come down to just backing yourself.
Mm. Which I think we saw with Karatsev at the Australian Open, in terms of saying, actually having won a few challenges, suddenly he got the belief. And he's just made that
40,
one.
50.
Elise in a good rhythm on that wide serve. It helps being tall that he gets width on it.
been a really good start by Josh Paris. He was the underdog coming into this match, but he's looked very, very good in this opening set. Backs up the break for a 4-1 lead. Work to do then for Dan Cox, who was unbeaten in Pool B. Top that table. He was the Pool B winner. He's up against the Pool A runner-up, which is Josh Paris. But as I've said a few times, playing with the house's money, having lost a match already, but could still win this week 1 of the UK Pro League. Cox trailing 1-4.
Just a unique format. That is
able to cover the cross court and left himself a little exposed there, Paris. I was going to ask you one of those. That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Barry. How often did you play round robin tennis?
probably not since the under-10s.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't think beyond that. I mean, it's actually become more and more of a factor now in junior tennis, because they try and have the tournaments in one day. But when I was junior, you know, the tournaments would be over a week. Sort of just trying to think back, if this had been me in this format, I think it's great because you know you're guaranteed 5 matches. So actually there's less pressure.
Yeah.
You know, you're not forced to come out and play your best tennis on day one. It's just do the right things for a week and then let's see where you are after 5 matches. Well, I'm sort of looking at the umpire. Is that in?
30-15.
No, I think he's missed it long. But yeah, I think we always say, don't we, often when we're doing ATP Tour events, when someone saves match points and they go on, we always go, oh, they're playing with the house's money. They're lucky just to be in. It's a freebie from here on in for them. And whereas for Paris, as in, you know, when you're playing round robins, you've lost a match. He's still in it, still could win it.
Brilliant. We've seen it, well, we saw him, excuse me, the game he broke. Run round the backhand to hit an aggressive forehand return, but they're standing in and ripping the single-hander. These are the sort of moments, he's flying. He's got the momentum. Go for the double break. Push for the 5-1 lead.
That's a phenomenal pickup. Wasn't the easiest of volleys, but he made it look easy.
40-30.
Helps when you hit a good approach and you're able then to just get that weight going through it and try and hit that first volley inside the service box, and he did that.
Talked about that win over Findle Hawkins. He felt in that match he was playing with a little bit of tension. Certainly playing a lot freer in this first set.
Net for serve. Advantage Paris.
Whereas Dan Cox looks like he's playing with a bit of tension. Another chance for a break for the 24-year-old.
Net for serve.
Yeah, just, well, not sure what he was looking to do with that backhand. Pounced on by
Yes.
Cox.
He upped the ante, Cox. Needs to be just a touch more proactive, touch more aggressive. Good point.
Oh dear. He did well to make Cox play one more ball, but
Advantage
again, perhaps a
Paris.
lapse in concentration.
Well, I can only think when a player misses this type of shot, it's because they're caught between two minds. Should it be a drop shot or should it be a one that you just nudge deep?
As it is, it's yet another break point for Paris.
Deuce.
Yeah, just bossing that point. Getting himself inside the baseline.
Advantage Cox.
This could be a big hold if he is able to wriggle out of this game. So often you see it. They're under pressure, going 2 breaks down, then they hold, and often that creates a bit of a hangover effect.
It's that type of point that he's been at his best. This set, Cox.
Deuce.
Another double fault, though. It's just been a little untidy, isn't it, Barry?
Yep. It's been a unbeaten to get to this stage. First couple of service games, though, was smooth running.
That's a percentage around the 40% mark right now.
Advantage
Nice and
Cox.
aggressive with that second serve. That was bold tennis from Cox, having a double fault in the previous point.
Use.
Full commitment and finds the corner. Any time on the ball right now for Paris, and he's making Cox pay.
That's a great angle, camera angle, to show the forehand in full flow.
Advantage Cox.
That's a big hold from Cox.
Game
You
Cox.
can understand the shout of "come on" from the Lancastrian.
Paris leads
Not playing his
by
best
4
tennis in
games.
this match, but that could be a very significant game. Somehow finds a way to come through it to save multiple break points and keeps it to just the one break. So now this game becomes pretty pivotal for Paris. How's he going to be psychologically, having had the opportunity to win a game that would almost have given him the set? I thought 2 breaks of serve might have been enough. Yeah. Getting Paris on the back foot.
Didn't do a lot wrong though in that last game, Paris. I think that's what you sort of have to tell yourself. I mean, you don't break, but you created the chances. You have to continue to make statements though. You can't just feel that it can just drift, especially when you're a player that has the power that Paris has.
Oh, what a return that is. Onto it in a flash.
Love 30.
That might be the best shot we've seen in this match. Simply stunning.
Timely big first serve again.
15-30.
And the last time he was at 15-30, went wide with a serve, Paris, on this side.
Oh, he's just missed it.
Ready up.
And how much of the point before actually won in that point, because I think Cox was banking on the drop shot. He just moved inside the base, and he could absolutely understand why.
Yeah, that's smart tennis from Cox. He's just targeting the backhand side.
30,
Easy put away in the end.
And it's been this type of return, this game, has been the key. Holding an aggressive position.
Well, we said it before, Barry. How often do you see this happen? Paris having had break points for a 5-1 lead. Now all of a sudden, Cox with the chance to get the break back. Full commitment from Paris. Bold tennis, especially behind the second serve.
Deuce.
That's terrific stuff. Being brave.
Well, eager to get forward, but at the end of the day, it was a tough volley. Should he have taken that on the bounce, Barry?
No, I think it was the right volley. He just panicked. Sometimes you get into that position, you panic because you kind of, corner of your eye, you're looking at your opponent. And really, ideally, what you want to do there is just knock the ball back, either back down the middle or back cross court, and just hold your position at the net. And if your opponent comes up with a pass, too good.
Wally Beers bowled with this second serve. Break point down again. And got away with it. It's the type of ball you expect Cox to make.
Deuce.
It's the type of ball, given the way he plays, he has to make. I mean, that's a cheap error.
Advantage Paris.
Oh, he's stolen the point. Can you believe it?
Deuce.
Well, he took the gamble. He stayed at home. I don't think you can be too critical of Paris here at all, because when the ball's high up, you just got to commit to the volley. You're not looking to see where your opponent's standing, but a bit of inspiration from Cox.
Oh, brilliant footwork. He read the play. That's wonderful hand skills as well. Again, it's another point he's stolen.
What a point. It's a tough one for Paris, because in that situation, he did absolutely everything right, but Cox has come up with a sublime little touch.
Hasn't found his A game so far in this first set, but the last 2 points, Cox has come alive and now has another break point. He's overcooked the forehand, and it is Dan Cox who's able to break. Could easily have been 5-1 down, but now right back in this first set. Terrific tennis from the Lancastrian. I've got an apology to make to Joshua Paris. I've been calling him a 24-year-old. It's not. He's not. He's a 25-year-old. So happy birthday, Joshua Paris. Turned 25 today. And, well, hasn't been given many gifts from Cox in the last 2 games anyway.
Love.
You made him a cake?
I didn't even notice his birthday until a minute ago. So, I mean, I've had a shocker all over the show there. Did you at least get him a card, though?
No. It's in the post.
We'll expect Marcus to sing him happy birthday if he does win, though.
Yes, what a good idea that is.
Yeah.
He's always looking for questions.
I thought you were saying he's always looking to sing in front of a microphone.
Well, he is that as well. What's the birthday cake of your choice?
I'm your standard guy, to be honest.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, what's that mean?
Flange, isn't that the I don't even know what they're called. That's
What, chocolate cake or?
no, your normal cake. Was that flange? Is it? What is it? I don't even know. I can't even think. The one with cream and jam in the middle.
Victoria Sponge.
Yeah. It's not my strong point. You a chocolate cake guy?
No, actually,
30.
do like a coffee cake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is left field.
Yeah, do like coffee. Victoria Sponge.
So I'm a fan of coffee cake, but caffeine affects me like crazy. So
Yeah.
it'll have to be early in the morning. But that is a question again. You know, we're just handing Marcus, helping Marcus out with his job. That's a superb return. Still just feel Cox struggling with that first serve percentage, and he's being made to pay more often than not.
Yeah, given the type of player he is, you're sort of entering the numbers that's kind of unacceptable. He should not be below 50% first serves, Cox. Yeah, I say that because if you're a big server and you're below 50%, but you're still winning sort of 80%, 85% of the points, that's fine. But when you don't rely on the ability to get cheap points with the first serve, it's even more important that your numbers have got to be 60, 65.
Third juice game in a row. Set has got and become very tight. Oh, it's a stunning backhand. I think it was a backhand. He was so far back we couldn't even see.
Advantage Cox.
And again, it's another one of those points. We saw it in the previous game where two players doing the right things. That should not deter Paris.
Has made it. And again, the second serve just getting picked off. I feel this is an important game, particularly for Paris. I feel if he's lost 3 tight games in a row, that will hurt psychologically.
Again, just going back to that return earlier in the match, he hit a second serve down the middle. I think he needs to just revisit that play, Cox.
Advantage Paris.
It's just the type of things that he's been doing so well of late, Dan Cox. Those sort of balls he hasn't been missing this week. First serve percentage has been pretty decent. You can understand his frustration. And yet again, it's a break point for Paris. And this time it is Paris who's able to break. And those missed first serves
Paris.
coming back to bite Dan Cox. As it's Paris who will now serve for the first set at 5-3.
Paris leads by 5 games to 3.
Game infuriating more than the other one that he got broken. I mean, worked so hard to break back Cox.
Love 15.
There's the alley.
15 all.
As I say, has a couple of times. He's got a little tight trying to close out sets. Jack Findle Hawkins' first set Was in a very good position before having it stolen away from him. He's actually up 5-1 against Recchi and a setup. And ended up losing that set 7-6 before winning it on the match tiebreak. Well, I was just about to say, I'm not sure he needed to play the volley, but didn't matter in the end.
Wow. I'm just wondering why he felt the need to look like he was covering the lob here,
15,
Paris.
30.
Yeah, and because of that meant his weight was on his heels. And in that situation, he did a really good job to just get the ball back. You just got to hold your ground. Because even by retreating, I don't think he probably would have got the lob anyway.
Might have been a little rattled, though, because he might have thought his shot initially was going wide before Cox played it. He's found the corner of the court. Cox looking at the line for a long time. You can hear the noise from Paris. Kind of get the sense that he knows he's struggled to get over the line in sets previously this week. Just trying to gee himself up. Again, getting himself forward.
40, 30.
The forehand has won him a lot of points in this set. In his mind now, I think he would hope he doesn't have to hit one this point, just one shot. Big serve.
Well, it was a battle of a set, plenty of juice games in it. In truth, it could have gone either way, but it was always Paris who had the lead. Shake of the head from Dan Cox. It's Josh Paris who's taken the opener by 6 games to 3. Hello, guys. Josh, are you there? Aha, here we go. Josh, can you hear us?
I can.
Oh, superb. We're gonna have a little chat with you.
Sure.
We're on a break at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, great. Great set. Well played.
Thank you.
To say that we can chat to Josh Paris. Josh, great set of tennis. What for you was the main reason that you won that opener?
I had a game plan going in to be aggressive, keep the points as short as I can, because I know how quick Dan is and he makes a lot of balls. So I think that was it, and then execution. So I thought I did really well.
Been doing a really good job, Josh, on your forehand. Is that the shot that's pleased you?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, as you can probably see, I like to be aggressive on it. So just keep going after it, and if I execute, I know that the points are on my racket. So.
Were you feeling a few nerves towards the end of that set? You've had a couple of tough ones closing out sets this week.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I mean, I actually thought I did in the previous game. He hit a couple of amazing shots, so I thought I'd stay pretty calm. Obviously, a little bit of nerves, but I thought I did pretty well.
Yeah, great job, Josh. Best of luck for the next set.
Thank you. Thanks.
Time.
A good, honest interview in terms of what he was saying about trying to keep the points short, and then you were saying coming into that he had to play that brand of tennis.
Yeah, and now what's important is he sticks to it. And if he doesn't, it'll be our fault.
I did feel a little cruel reminding him about closing out the sets, but he got over the line well there. In terms of Dan Cox, I mean, I know you're going to say to me he's got to up his first serve percentage, but anything else he's got to do? And with regards to upping your first serve percentage, does he take a bit off? What does he do?
Yeah, well, if you are suffering on a first serve percentage, you're missing a lot. You go one or two ways.
Cox to serve.
That's good. And what you do, you either throw the ball up and hit the ball even harder, or, as you said, you take pace off. Now, in Cox's situation, the player he is the latter. Absolutely. If it's somebody like Josh Paris, maybe it's the first one. And I say that because as a big server, if you start to then roll your first serve in to get a higher first serve percentage, it actually affects the rest of your game. You become a little bit too passive.
Was interesting as well, and I like that move. Certainly nothing passive about this game so far from Paris.
15-30.
Chatty, you can hear, incidentally, is on the other court here, which is pretty close by. Hodkin took the first set 6-2 against Waitman there in a second set tiebreaker. All of these matches being played with regards to where everyone will finish. This one with regards to who will be in the final and who will be in the third, fourth playoff tomorrow. A lovely touch from Cox.
30 all.
Nice feel. He's actually volleyed well. There's been nothing wrong with that part of the game.
Just peppering the backhand. And he moved so far back, didn't he, that he left a lot of court in the forefront.
Yeah, and that's why getting first serves in helps Cox, because then he's able to just dominate the rally. And for Cox, dominating the rally is not, like maybe a Paris who's looking to hit a big forehand and end the point quickly. It's about working your man over. It's good play.
Game, Cox.
Important service hold for Cox. You could clearly see at the end of the first set he was shaking his head, still shaking his head, but at least he gets his nose in front in set two.
He's made reference to it, and it really does stick out. 39% first serves in. It's just not going to cut it at any level. Paris, he wins 85% of his points, so that's the key to Paris. If he drops his first serve percentage, then the threat is there because of the baseline shots of Cox. So Paris just winning 26% of his points on his second serve. So it kind of feels when you watch some of the quality points we've had and you look at those stats, it's almost who's going to have a high first serve percentage. This set might actually win it. matches you did with Cox? Was he a lot higher?
Yeah, yeah, he was certainly yesterday. Just generally a little bit more polished overall. We've seen a few more unforced errors at the front of the court, missing the forehand. Just didn't give much away. I mean, I know you've seen his career for a long time. He's always been a great competitor in terms of someone who moves terrifically well. Just feels like he's a little uncomfortable out there today. His opponent obviously is to do with that. But yeah, the first serve percentage obviously affects the rest of your game. It always does.
Yeah, whatever player you are. You know, whether you're a player that relies exclusively on your serve or whether you are a baseliner. Commentated on Cam Norrie this week and playing Hatchinoff, and he had a serving display very similar to what we've just seen from Cox, and it affected the rest of his game.
Just applies that much more pressure, doesn't it? To every other ball, you suddenly get an easier ball because you haven't been getting easier balls because you're not serving as well. You just feel if you can up that first serve percentage, then he might start feeling more comfortable. So the expectation, of course, Cox will expect to win this match, you feel. At the moment, Paris ranked outside the world's top 1,000. Cox, before this event, beat a couple of players in and around the 500 mark. Pushed a player ranked 403 in the world, very close. Of course, he's a former world number 206 himself. That's good bold hitting though, isn't it, from Paris again? Not holding back, getting himself forward and playing great attacking tennis.
He's made some crucial first serves on those types of points. 30 all, 15-30.
Well, it's almost exhibition tennis, but it's a point that somehow Dan Cox has won.
Use.
And he backed off again. Ended up on his back foot, and you need a brick wall, because if you're a brick wall, you can then have the strength to use the pace of your opponent's passing shots. Good hustle from Cox. Need some sessions with Louis Kaya. He's absolutely rifling the ball at you at the net.
It's another extraordinary rally, and this time it's Paris's turn to win it.
Such a fascinating point.
Advantage Paris.
That's better. Going to that ball. Get a good angle here. Yeah. Textbook.
Coach was happy too.
One there. I'm not sure where the fourth one is.
effective slice. Always stays low on this surface.
One game.
It's a big service hold because you felt Cox had just raised his game there.
That's what you always want to see in matches. When one player raises a game, can the other respond? And 100% agree with you, Pete. Actually might be one of his best games he's played.
Not looking overly happy right now, Dan Cox, but
He's not far away, though.
no.
I think he can have more of a positive outlook that his opponent's playing well.
It's fine tennis. Again, another missed first serve though from Cox, but you feel if he can get that first serve percentage up, it'll make life a lot easier for himself on serve, Cox. And when you consider the last 3 games or so on the Paris serve, he's nearly broken. But it's easier sat here saying that than when you're in the midst of it.
Where you are in the heat of the battle, you don't always see
Love,
it
30.
necessarily the way that other people see it. You can get a little clouded by your judgment.
Also how you're feeling, you know, missing these first serves. Just constant feel of not being that comfortable, getting annoyed. That's a chance. I love 30 especially.
15, 30.
Again, the serve sat up to be hit, and Paris doesn't need a second invitation right now.
And again, just hasn't gone for that middle serve. Cox. That's where, if you do have on-court coaching, it can help. You just say to the player.
The headset's there, Barry. Again, missing the first serve. 2 break points and a second serve to swing at. It was a better, bolder second serve from Cox, enabling him to get up the court.
30, 40.
Well, helped out by the net call, but he still had plenty to do. That's a wonderful, whippy winner of a backhand from Paris to break early in the second set and lead 2-1. impressive stuff for Josh Parris. Dan Cox, meanwhile, with a bit of a mountain to climb here. Down a set and now down a break too. But we were just having a chat there, Barry, off air. Josh Parris, highest ranking 769. I mean, the tennis he's playing here, it looks like he should be ranked higher than that, or could be ranked higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's often a very dangerous word for us to use, could.
Mm.
It just strikes me as the type of person that actually he's a better player than he realizes. But I will put that into context. That does apply a lot to players in the futures level, because it is such a brutal level that you can get just caught at playing futures, and you kind of, your self-esteem gets crushed a bit because it is just such a brutal level.
Well, this is why I asked you that question in terms of the belief, you know, around the sort of futures challenges and the jumps.
Wide.
Yeah, called wide.
No, I think it's called in.
So Parris called it wide. Cox thought it was in.
It did look wide, and generally the umpire's not going to overrule it.
I can't touch that.
Yeah. Yeah, the umpire just saying.
100% Josh, you can't call it. Okay. For me, it's very, very close.
You've got to stick with your call.
If you say out,
I mean, that's
certain,
the
then
one thing you've got to do.
If you can't be certain, then yes. Because ultimately we shouldn't be calling the ball out unless we're certain it's out. 15 all.
So what's happened there is that Parris is.
For that, I can't be certain.
He's almost
Ultimately the players.
been too honest there, perhaps, Parris, in terms of he thinks it's out.
15
He's
all.
been honest by saying, I think it's out, but he hasn't said he definitely thinks it's out. And then he pointed to the ball mark saying, well, it was out. But the umpire said, well, you've got to call with 100% certainty, so I've got to give the point to Cox. And obviously on the far sideline, impossible for the umpire to overrule unless it's very clear.
30, 15.
But a great response from Parris in that point.
Yeah, he was fired up, controlled anger.
Ideal.
It's an intelligent shot as well, isn't it?
40, 30.
Just cutting it down low, making it tough for Cox to have to whip up the back of the ball. To say, he's one of these players, Barry. I mean, I don't know him well, but from what I've been told, he's such a nice guy off the court, really humble person. He gave us a really nice interview there as well at the sit-down. Very different to his on-court demeanour, though. There's real intensity to him. Certainly a fair amount of fire there as well.
Use.
This is just a massive game. Not because it's a set and a break, but because what's gone on in the game. It just feels like this is sort of one of those rounds in boxing. There's a few body blows. You got to come back with a big hit.
Oh my. Got himself into such a good position. It's those types of shots that Cox is usually so solid on.
They missed one of these in the first set as well.
Use.
Yeah, I agree with you, Barry. This is a massive game, especially with the line call. The intensity's just gone up.
Not a bad play, actually, given what's happened in this game, to go body with a big first serve. Sort of hit your opponent hard with a statement.
Oh, he does love to play the drop shot, and he got his positioning spot on after playing it as well.
That's just glorious tennis. Really composed. I absolutely loved the way he followed it in after the drop shot and closed down this shot from Cox.
Reminds me a little bit every now and then of Jerzy Janowicz. Languid style, but also throwing in the drop. Yeah, seeing the opportunity. That's brilliant tennis from Paris.
Game.
And this time it's a clinical volley to close out a vital game to back up the break for a 3-1 lead.
3 games to 1.
It's one you'd be proud of, Barry.
Yeah, attack the net. Attack the game.
Net first serve.
Oh, that's unlucky. Got himself into a great position.
A good strong pass from Cox. In the end, the net cord caused the hesitation from Paris.
Net first serve.
Nice combo.
30 love.
His body language is revealing.
Yeah, I saw it wide. $30-15.
Well, this is the difference, isn't it? He's found first serves in this game, and life becoming that much easier.
Yeah, this set, first serve is closer to the 70% mark, and he's having success because of that. It's still struggling on second serve. The second serve, actually, you know, I've mentioned it, but has become very predictable since that opening service game.
Oh, it's a glorious
Okay.
pass.
Cox.
That's some backhand from Cox. He's still not overly happy. He still finds himself setting a break down, but it is just 3-2 in the second.
2.
Josh Parris in a good position here, but that was arguably Dan Cox's best service game. He might just lift his spirits.
He's right in there. Yeah, is it going his own? Is he going as expected? No. Is he playing his best? No. Is he playing badly? No, for me. Yeah. Parris is playing well. He's just got to keep hanging in there. I mean, this, you know, you can go watch any tournament any week of the year, and you'll see players. It's not always that easy closing out matches.
And as I cruelly reminded Parris at the sit-down, he has had some issues closing out matches. And I'm sure Cox will be well aware of that.
And I don't think as a player you should be in denial. I mean, it's, you know, everyone can see it. I mean, you only have to look at Tsitsipas. I mean, Tsitsipas can get tight at 5-1 in that fourth set against Coric. Or was it the fifth?
Yeah, it was the fifth, I think.
Yeah. Match points.
30 love.
Then it had a knock-on effect because then he got tight serving for the title in Hamburg a few weeks after that. Been good today with his backhand. He likes to hit the slice, but he hasn't got caught just hitting every single chip backhand. He has been able to drive over it on a few occasions. Just keeps that positive mindset.
$40-15.
Little wry smile from
40,
Cox
30.
there.
Game.
A big shout of come on. It's a big serve to close out the game. And he re-establishes the 2-game cushion in this second set.
Paris leads by 4 games to 2.
That always helps. Keep that adrenaline firing down the big ace to close out the game.
Well, that is just amazing. What a point. I mean, what a backhand that was from Paris. And Cox kept his cool.
15 love.
Everywhere.
For a moment there, Barry, I thought he was going to do a Medvedev. Back to the court from Paris. Nice pirouette.
Yeah, all credit to Paris. Cox was looking to change it up, go down the middle, but just didn't quite get the accuracy. But it's at times it's been devastating beforehand. He's just won 1 out of 5 on his second serve this set.
Been pretty good at the net, Cox, today, but gets that one all wrong.
15-30. All.
That's been a ball that he has missed quite often today.
40.
Usually meat and drink. He's missed it in the net as well, routinely. So this, a huge point. Paris the chance to get a double break lead in the second set. Priceless first serve from Cox.
Use. Net, first serve.
Just a few times in this game, Paris has dug out balls. And again, just asking one more question.
Paris.
And it is his birthday, and that was a bit of a gift from Cox.
Just looks like he's doubting himself on those types of shots, Cox.
Second break point of the game. No doubt there.
Good tennis.
Use.
That's much better. No doubt in his mind with that point.
Great angle. Kind of get the feeling he's almost
Advantage
hanging on here,
Cox.
Cox, psychologically. As I say, though, he will be well aware Paris can get tight closing out matches, and as you've said a few times, Barry, he's not that far away.
Well, I have a kind of a golden rule that if a player has a chance for a double break with break points and they don't convert, it gives such a lift to that player that then feels they're still in the match.
Game.
Cox very much still is in the match. That's a big hold. Had to save a couple of
Paris
break points.
leads by
Doesn't
4
look
games
happy,
to 3.
but Paris only has a 1-game lead. This next game becomes absolutely crucial, as Barry was just saying, in terms of the fact that had those points for a double break lead, and if you remember back to the first set, he had points for a double break lead. What happened in the next game? Got broken before getting himself over the line and breaking again. Serving 4-3. That's a great way to start. And I suppose, Barry, the one thing he can tell himself is that in the previous game, Cox won those break points.
Yeah, absolutely. But it just, what helps us as commentators is what he was saying after the first set, that I knew what I needed to do. So you would expect him to still keep reminding himself that same plan of attack. You just want to get involved in baseline duels of him being ineffective, which he hasn't done at all today.
all.
Just saying that one caught the line.
15.
Well, he went early with the come on.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. You're not going to call that one out.
30 all. Dan, for me it's good.
So there we go. It's an overall.
Yeah, I saw it good. 40, 30.
Well, for the umpire overall, he had a very good look at that.
I'm certain.
Looking at the replay, it did look like it hit the line. So I think that's good umpiring. Big point as well, of course. Always ends up being close to the line, doesn't it? How often that's the case. So it will be a gain point for Paris rather than a break point for Cox.
No.
Mind games.
Wide. Net, second serve.
Oh, it was a risky shot to go inside in, left himself a little bit exposed,
Yes.
and Cox takes advantage.
You're not a massive fan of the inside in. Not unless really it's a point-ending shot, because as you said, Pete, it just exposes you.
I was going to come back at you and say, you're going to tell Del Potro that?
He can hit it at 110.
Yeah.
Right, it's a bit different.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Oh, it's a big serve at a big time.
Advantage Paris.
That will be another game point.
Yeah, there's no doubt sport misses crowd, but one thing about having no crowd, you do pick up what used to be commonplace years and years and years ago.
Even as long
Okay.
as it goes your era,
Yeah,
Barry?
yeah, it's even before that.
Paris leads by 5 games.
Actually, a
to
funny
3.
story I was hearing this week. Tommy Paul, the young American, he was playing a challenger a couple of years ago, and he was down a break early in the third, and he started trash talking his opponent. Said, "Oh, you're playing unbelievable. You're just not missing." Wins the match. I mean, it's well within your rights.
And he kind of felt that was possibly what Cox was doing by standing up to Paris a couple of points ago, but Paris unaffected by it. It was a good service hold. Got a lot of character here, Paris, in this second set. He's done a good job of just
15
scrapping balls back.
Fifteen-all. Net for serve.
That's good forceful play from Cox,
30,
forcing
15.
Paris well back behind the baseline.
There's been some bright moments for him.
Forty, 15.
And finds the line. Looking to ask the question. Test the nerve of his opponent. Push that one in
Game,
to
Cox.
the tram lines, and Cox is able to hold, and so will indeed ask the
Paris
question
leads
of
by
Paris
5 games to 4.
as to whether he can serve this match out. It is Paris who leads by 5 games to 4. And right now, Barry, what do you think will be going through Josh Paris's mind? In fact, I'm going to ask you a different question. What should be going through Paris's mind?
I'll answer both, actually. I think there will be a little bit of self-doubt there, but then you have to switch it back to very much a positive. You almost remind yourself what your game plan was at the start, how you've been able to carry out your game plan. And I think that the type of player he is, first point,
Time.
you give the serve almighty smack. You be brave on that first serve.
And if you miss it, how aggressive do you go?
No,
with
you
the
don't
second?
even. But you don't even think about missing it.
Okay.
You just, by going and being aggressive on the first serve, will help you then attack the second serve. You know, ultimately, he should be looking to bring the forehand into play as much as possible.
So it is the birthday boy, Josh Paris, a game away from a place in the final of week 1 of the UK Pro League. Serving for it at 5-4.
15 love.
Did exactly what you said.
Yeah, it's simple. Of course, it's not always that easy to do. Same again, ride the adrenaline. Often go with your favourite serves as well.
Fifteen all.
fair amount of adrenaline in the system, no doubt.
30-15.
It's a big miss. I'm afraid for Cox, there's just been a few too many big misses at the front of the court for him today. And it could end up being very costly. 2 match points for Josh Parris. The birthday boy gifts himself the ultimate present, a place in the final of the UK Pro League Week 1 with a sensational win over Dan Cox.
Thanks, guys.
Superb display of attacking tennis from Josh Parris as he books that place in the final. A winner in straight sets. What are your thoughts on that, Barry?
Yeah, he should be delighted. That was a really good performance. It was brave from Parris. He served really well. I mean, the key was not just the 57%, but the damage he did on that first serve, 85. Cox served poorly. That affected him and meant he was in a dogfight. But where Parris was very good, he just kept coming. He kept being aggressive, which is not always to do, especially when you have a few demons going on in your mind, when you're sort of struggling to close out sets and matches. So, deserved winner.
Yeah.
Cox, who went through the round robin stage unbeaten, not so today.
And he did so well as well. We were talking about his demons with regards to closing out sets, but there were a few problems in that final game. And it is the ideal present for himself, as I say, on his birthday, books a meeting with either Anton Matusevic or Billy Harris in the final. And I'm sure he will be bouncing with glee. We are just waiting for him to talk to Marcus Butland. And so let's cross over to lead Marcus with the questions.
Thank you, Pete, and congratulations. Josh, just sum up that performance.
Tough. It's been a long week, let's put it that way. Good though. I had a game plan going in. I wanted to keep the rally short. I mean, he's such a good player. He makes so many balls, and I had to execute, and I did. So I did well.
It is a very different week, of course, because you're playing every day. So physically, do you think it is just starting to catch up with you a little bit?
Slightly, I think so. I think mentally though, I've been pretty tough. I've gone through, as you said, some pretty tough ones, and I think that's helped me today for sure. And yeah, physically, I think I've held up pretty well, but I'm definitely starting to feel it now.
And it was mentioned a couple of times during commentary, I hope not unfairly, that at times in the past you've had a few issues closing out matches. So what was going through your mind towards the end of that one?
I tried to just stay calm. I mean, I'd been doing really well. I'd been serving well. And I just said to myself, instead of, I think in those other matches that I'd struggled kind of expecting that I was going to win. So I sat down saying that be prepared for a battle. This may be a battle. And it ended up being pretty comfortable, that game, I think, with that mentality.
I know you're fluent in French as well. We heard a couple of allées towards the end. What else do you do to try and stay calm at key moments in matches?
I like to just be super calm in my head. I don't really like to think too much. I like to breathe. I focus more on breathing. When I sit down, I'm always really positive, just telling myself I'm going to win the next point one at a time. So pretty simple stuff.
And you're through to the final, of course, so you've got to gear yourself up again for the showpiece event tomorrow. Putting your analyst hat on, what are you expecting in the second semi-final?
I don't actually know who I play yet. You know?
But it'll either be Anton Matusevic,
Okay.
who obviously has been playing extremely well, or Billy
Yeah.
Harris. So what's your
Okay.
hunch as to how that's going to pan out?
I mean, I think Anton's obviously probably slightly favourite. I played him early in the week. We had a pretty tough one in the third set tie-break. I think, it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be more psychological again. Going to make sure I get my good recovery in. And I'll be ready for the fight,
Yeah, and I hope your puppy, I understand your puppy, is it Maya, has been
Yes.
watching all week, so you can have a little chat on the dog and bone afterwards about that, and it makes up for Arsenal's performance today as well, doesn't it?
I'm slightly obsessed with this dog, which is slightly worrying, but she's amazing. She's been amazing over lockdown and everything, so I'm excited to go and see her, strangely, when I get back.
Nothing strange about that.
Nothing wrong
Listen,
with it, yeah.
you've been fantastic this week.
Thank you.
Congratulations and good luck in the final tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.
And of course, we will have that final live for you right here at the Dan Maskell Tennis Centre as everything builds to a crescendo at the end of week 1 of the UK Pro League. Barry Cowan was in the commentary box throughout. Mustn't come too close to me. Is this where I'm meant to stand? Yes. No nearer, please. Talking about the mentality, as you boys said in commentary, it was always going to be difficult to get across the line, but he seemed to do it remarkably comfortably.
Yeah, stuck to his game plan. I didn't quite hear the whole interview, but where we were really impressed was there was a few mind games going on, which I personally love, and I think when you got no crowd, it really does, you do pick up on that. But as a big server, when you are in the lead, when your opponent's trying to get under your skin, you've got to stay true to yourself and keep coming with big serves, and Josh was able to do that, especially that last game. It always helps when you hit a big serve down the middle to win that first point. So I thought it was a terrific effort, played really well.
Yeah, I think most people were expecting Dan to come through it, which is a testament to the performance we've just seen. And for Cox himself, he's such a talented player. How much of a setback do you think this might be for him?
Where I was surprised about, actually, that I thought Dan seemed to get really frustrated, probably from his own performance, the fact that he wasn't serving well, and maybe he was surprised at the level of his opponent. And sometimes, everyone's allowed to play well, and you just got to keep hanging in there. And it wasn't to be, but it's been a positive week for him. He went 5-0 in the round robin, and the nature of the format, 6 matches, you would hope that he'd be seeing the ball bigger after the 6th match than you would before your first.
Absolutely, and of course he's got a chance to come back tomorrow and make sure that he finishes in 3rd place, more points and more prize money at stake. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got the second of the women's semi-final.